Whoa, sorry, I thought I'd just spin out there, slice and dice the audio on this one, and it sucks, so I'm just going to keep the background noise in. But this is me showing you how slice and dice work, because I was really into Dungeons and Dice Monsters when I used to watch Yu-Gi-Oh! As a child, and this is almost like that, in that it has dice and that's about it. Slice and dice. Look at all these difficulties. This is the classic mode, and I'm going to do corn cob. That means I have just attack people, because there are many different classes that you have to bear in mind. This is the most offensive class, and I'm playing on hard difficulty, so you always have to have a curse. All dice have these eyes for damage or some kind of effect, such as shielding from damage, and this is indicated by the keywords such as self and shield. Here we can see the boar targeting specifically the brigand. Some attacks target only one enemy, or they target multiple. The same is true for the heroes and the monsters. All the monsters also have dice rolls in this game, so they can get lucky or unlucky with their rolls as well. So you also check that they have different kinds of attacks. Some of them are spread attacks, some of them inflict poison, and some of them inflict weakening debuffs, which means the value on your dice rolls could be lower. Whenever you beat a level, you get a choice of two things. You get a new level up to upgrade one of your hero classes, or you get items and you choose which one of those two you would like to help progress the game and increase your HP, and get access to new abilities and better dice rolls in general. Now what's going to happen here is this fighter here is going to die unless I save him, because the damage is indicated by yellow, which means all his hearts will go and extra free, and I couldn't save him and he's dead. But he will be revived the next turn at half health. This big skull indicates that this is a boss fight, which gets progressively harder as you progress through the game, and many bosses such as this alpha can summon other wolves, and they have really annoying abilities, and they get really hard, and you just die most of the time to these boss fights. When you die, you start from the beginning in your chosen game mode and difficulty, and since I'm playing on hard mode, I have to make a new curse and deal with it for the entire next run. Speaking of the next run, I died very quickly and it went really poorly, and I didn't even beat the first boss. Oh, I'm dead. Okay. So we're gonna try again. This time I burned the first boss fight. Perfect, which lets me progress and led me to gain an interesting level up, the Coffin. The class itself isn't that great, but if you pick the Coffin class, you get a randomly generated hero who may start off pretty basic and borderline bad, but can also be leveled up into a regular class, and then you have an extra hero to use in any future fights. And I was going to need it, because now I was fighting a Banshee. Every time I used an ability, which is the little symbols you see at the bottom, I would take damage the second time I used it. So now I had no more abilities to use the rest of this fight. And the Banshee has pretty decent health and very high hitting attacks and poison, which I did not have any cleanse tiles for. Cleanse is specifically to restore any status elements that you've been dealt, so this was going to be a tough one. The second problem is the slime. It also has pretty decent health and spread poison attacks, but when you deal free damage to it, it'll split off into another slime, meaning I'll have to deal with more monsters and more potential damage rolls. But like LeBron James in 2016, we fucking won. Now it was a new challenge, the Basalt. It has a mechanic where if I do 1 damage, it will double intrinsically, and it goes up 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6, which helps you chip away at its massive 35 HP health stat. However, it has some very high damage rolls, and it can summon other creatures as well, so it's a really hard monster to beat. And so now we're going to give it a go. I had got some bad damage rolls with a 7, but it was exert, which means the next turn, Bash can't attack at all sides are blank. The silver line though is the quartz monsters that are annoying with their weakening rolls, so if you get hit, they will reduce the damage of all your pips. Well, not even damage, it's every value goes down by 1 or 2. In this case 2, so you've got to get rid of them. But if you deal exactly 5 damage, not in one shot, just in total, the quartz will die immediately, because I guess you hit that perfect spot, and the crystals shattered, made of crystals of diamond, something like that. But I'm in a bad situation. The Coffin's going to die. It's not a bad loss. It's not a great monster at this point. But the Calderia and my medic are going down. So I'm spamming Renew, which sets my HP value to 4. But I still lost my medic, which is a big issue. Also, one of my curses is snakes appear every third turn, which is, they're not that strong, but they keep inflicting poison. So it's a terrible, terrible state of affairs. And now I'm just trying to do damage as much as I can with Scrapper's Bloodlust. If creatures are damaged, Bloodlust damage goes up by 1 pip. And the hammer that Granite just used only hits the highest HP monsters, so it has to hit the Basalt. And since I used the Exert for the extra 7 damage for my Bash class, There's literally nothing I can do with it this turn, and it's kind of the end of the line. I have a monster with like still 30% HP roughly, and a snake to deal with who'll constantly poison me. There's just not enough damage, sadly, I can do, and this is going to be the end of the line.